Hello students, today we are going to start with the chapter The Tiger King from your book Vistas, and it has been written by Kalki. Kalki is the pen name of Ramaswamy Iyer Krishnamurti. He was named after Kalki, the 10th and the last avatar of the Hindu god Vishnu. He was a Tamil writer, journalist, poet, critic and freedom movement activist. His writings include over 120 short stories, 10 novelettes, 5 novels, 3 historical romances, editorials and political writings, and hundreds of films and music reviews. On the occasion of the centenary celebrations, a postage stamp was released in his honor. His works were nationalized by the government of Tamil Nadu. The Tiger King is a satire about the transience of life and power. It is a satire on the conduct of the people in power. It is found that most of the time the rulers are not interested and bothered about working for public. Rather, they spend their time in foolish things. Most of the people who surround these powerful people are also interested in taking advantage of the proximity for their own welfare. The story is set in the kingdom of Pratibandhupuram in pre-independent India. In this story, Kalki takes his readers to the days of autocratic and eccentric kings. These kings lived under the thumb rule of the British, hence they feared them. In order to make the story mysterious, Kalki has added supernatural elements in the story. The haughty king disapproved the prophecy made by the astrologer about his death, but his death from the wooden tiger approved it. The main characters in the story are the Maharaja or the Tiger King and Diwan, and the minor characters are the chief astrologer, the British officer, the British officer's secretary, the British officer's lady, Maharaja's son. Now, the gist of the story. When the prince at Pratibandhupuram was born, the astrologers predicted that he would be killed by 100th tiger. To prove the astrologer wrong, the king killed the first tiger and challenged the prediction. The astrologer said that the 100th tiger would kill him. The Maharaja put all his estate duties aside and set upon killing 100 tigers. When all the tigers in his estate were killed, he married a princess whose father had many tigers in his forest. He even spent rupees 3 lakhs to please a British officer who wanted to hunt tigers in his estate. Finally, the 100th tiger was killed. The Maharaja left the place with great triumph. The bullet didn't hit the tiger, but out of fear, the tiger had collapsed. In the fear of losing their jobs, Maharaja's men did not reveal this fact. So, they killed the tiger and brought it in grand procession. The Maharaja was very happy and then decided to spend time with his son. He bought a wooden toy tiger on his son's 3rd birthday. The toy was made up by an unskilled carpenter. One of the silvers pierced Maharaja's right hand and developed an infection, which later on caused his death. The irony of fate brings quite an unexpected end of the Maharaja. The Maharaja killed 99 tigers, but a wooden tiger took its revenge upon the Tiger King. The Maharaja Sir Jillani Jung Bahadur of Pratibandhupuram was called the Tiger King. When the Tiger King was born, the astrologers had predicted that one day the king would grow up and become a valiant warrior. He would be one of the greatest heroes but would have to meet his death. As the astrologers had foretold his future, a great miracle took place. The 10-day-old prince spoke. The chief astrologer was wonderstruck. The prince asked him to tell the manner of his death. The chief astrologer told that the prince was born in the hour of the bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies, so his death would come from the tiger. To this, the prince shouted a warning to all the tigers. He uttered, "Let tigers beware." With passing time, the child grew like any other royal child. There was no other miracle linked to his childhood after the initial one. He was brought under the influence of the Western culture, drank the milk of the English cow, looked after by an English nanny, and tutored in English by an English man. He watched nothing but English films. The prince was trained in the best mannerism and etiquettes. At the age of 20, when the prince was crowned, and one day when the young Maharaja heard of the astrologer's prediction, to prove his prediction wrong, he started his tiger hunt in the innumerable forest in Pratibandhpuram state. He justified this act as self-defense. The Maharaja was overjoyed when he killed the first tiger and informed the astrologer, but the straight astrologer warned that it would be the 100th tiger that would kill him. The astrologer was so confident of his prediction, he said that if his prediction didn't turn out to be true, he would give up his profession. After that, the king's campaigns were harsh and violent. Hunting of jungle cats within the kingdom became only his royal pursuit. Pratibandhpuram state banned tiger hunting by anyone except the Maharaja. It stated that the property of the person who even hurt a tiger would be confiscated. The king was all set to realize this ambition of killing 100 tigers. He was so obsessed with his tiger hunt that he vowed to attend to all other matters only after killing 100 of them. He braved all challenges that came his way, whether it was his bullet missing the mark, the tiger leaping on him, or fighting the beast with his bare hands. The Maharaja was always victorious. Once a situation had come that the Maharaja was about to lose his throne, and it was because of his obsession of tiger hunt. It happened when a high-ranking British officer visited Pratibandhpuram. The Durai was very fond of hunting and even fonder of being photographed with the tigers he had shot. He expressed his desire to hunt in Pratibandhpuram, but the Maharaja didn't give him permission. Durai is the colloquial way of addressing the British officer, especially in Tamil in those days. The king offered him to go to any other hunting, like mouse or even a mosquito hunt, but refused to arrange tiger hunt for the British officer. So, the British official secretary sent a word to the Maharaja that actual hunting would be done by the Maharaja himself. The Durai only wanted to get himself photographed holding a gun and standing over the tiger's carcass. The Maharaja refused. He said that the other British officers would then come to Pratibandhpuram in order to fulfill their wish of hunting a tiger. So, in order to please the officer, the Maharaja asked a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta to send samples of expensive diamond rings of different designs for the British officer's wife. About 50 rings arrived. The Maharaja sent them to the British officer's wife, expecting her to choose 1 or 2 rings. But she took all of them, worth 3 lakhs of rupees. The Maharaja lost 3 lakhs of rupees but managed to retain his kingdom. The tiger hunt continued for 10 years and the Maharaja was able to kill 70 tigers. The tiger population became extinct in the forest of Pratibandhpuram, but the Maharaja had another plan. The Maharaja called the Diwan and expressed his desire to get married to a girl from the royal family of a state with a large tiger population. The Diwan, in compliance with his orders, found the right girl from the state with a large tiger population. Maharaja Jung Bahadur killed 5 or 6 tigers each time he visited his father-in-law. Soon, he was able to kill 99 tigers. But by then, there was no tiger left even in his father-in-law's kingdom. The Maharaja now became even more uneasy and desired to kill just one single beast and get over his fears. He could then give up hunting. Unfortunately, the 100th tiger could not be found. The Maharaja was sunk in gloom. One day, when the Maharaja heard that in his own state the sheep had begun to disappear from a hillside village, he was so delighted that he announced a 3-year exemption from all taxes for the village and set out to find a tiger, but all in vain. Then he became so angry that many officers lost their jobs for their inability to find the tiger. In his wrath, he also ordered the Diwan to double the land tax. The Diwan warned him of the dangers involved in it and said that the people would become discontented. Their state might face protest by the Indian National Congress. The Diwan was worried. He was relieved to see a tiger that had been brought from the People's Park in Madras and kept it hidden in his house. At midnight, the Diwan and his wife dragged the tiger to the car and managed to take the tiger to the forest, where the king was on his hunting tour. With a great difficulty, the Diwan pushed it out. The next day, the same tiger was spotted by the Maharaja. He shot the beast and the tiger fell to the ground. The overjoyed king ordered the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession. After the Maharaja left, the hunters realized that the tiger was not dead. It had merely fainted due to the shock as the bullet had passed close to it. For the fear of losing their jobs, they decided to keep away the truth from the Maharaja. One of the hunters shot the tiger dead. Then, as ordered by the king, they took the tiger in a procession through the town and buried it. A tomb was erected over it. After achieving the feat, the Maharaja turned his attention to his child. A few days later, the Maharaja's son's birthday was celebrated. He went for shopping but couldn't find anything worthy enough. Finally, he spotted a wooden tiger and decided that it was the perfect gift. The wooden tiger cost 2 annas and a quarter, but the shopkeeper said that it was an extremely rare example of craftsmanship and asked for 300 rupees. The king bought it. That day, father and son played with that tiny little wooden tiger. It had been carved by an unskilled carpenter. As a consequence, the surface was rough with tiny quill-like structures all over it. One of the quills pierced the Maharaja's right hand. The Maharaja pulled it out but continued to play with his son. The next day, infection flared in the Maharaja's right hand and spread all over the arm. 3 famous surgeons were called from Madras to operate upon the king. After the operation, the surgeons came out of the theatre and said that the operation was successful and the Maharaja was dead. Here, the surgeons' words are contradictory because if the king died, it meant that the operation was unsuccessful, whereas they said that it was successful. Actually, they were supporting the words of the astrologer. The wooden tiger was the 100th tiger that had killed the king Jung Bahadur and thus made the astrologer's prediction true. So in this manner, the 100th tiger took its final revenge upon the Tiger King. It killed the Maharaja. The irony of fate brings quite an unexpected end of the Maharaja. The hero, who killed 99 tigers, could not kill the last tiger. The king wanted to prove the astrologer wrong and to save his life. Ironically, to avert death, he actually invites it. The lofty titles used to introduce the Tiger King, suggesting an invincible ferocity, are indeed ironic, for he is finally killed by a cheap, crudely made wooden toy tiger. which became the tool of nature's revenge. He had killed 100 tigers in vain and must be punished for it. Irony is indeed sharp when the surgeons announced the operation successful and declared the king dead. There is a very deep message in the story. It conveys that destiny is all powerful and inevitable. No one can change his destiny. One is bound to die the way God has willed. Death is certain and no one can escape death. The author also wants to tell that man is living in a world that God has created. Every creature has a right to live, and those who intrude into the lives of other living beings are committing an unpardonable sin. They kill innocent animals on one pretext or the other. Their inhumane attitude towards wildlife is sure to disturb the ecological balance in the world. This may lead to the extinction of species. Through this satirical story, the author has rightly portrayed how powerful people have subjected innocent animals to untold torture and death, merely to fulfill their own whims and fancies. This is all about the story, The Tiger King. Hope you have understood it well. Thank you.